Hello, this is lesson 0.5, installing an integrated development environment, IDE, of the Learning C++ app for iOS, whose link is in the description. As mentioned in the previous section, an integrated development environment, IDE, contains all of the things you need to develop, compile, link, and debug your programs. So let's install one. The obvious question is, which one? Keep in mind that you can install multiple IDEs, so that there is no wrong decision here. During the course of the tutorials, I will be showing you some of the nice features of your IDE, such as how to do integrated debugging. All of my examples will be done using Apple's Xcode IDE or code blocks, thus I highly recommend you pick one of these. However, if you're tech savvy and would like to try your hand at another compiler, you're free to do so. The concepts I show you will work for any IDE. However, different IDEs use different key mappings and different setups, and you may have to do a bit of searching to find the equivalent of what I show you. If you're developing on a Windows machine, as I think there's a high probability you are, then I recommend Microsoft's free Visual C++ Express Edition. The installer that you download off of Microsoft's webpage is actually a downloader. When you run it, it will download the actual IDE from Microsoft. Also, I recommend installing the optional Microsoft MSDN Express Edition if you can spare about 250 megabytes of hard drive space. The MSDN Express will give you documentation about C++ functions that you will refer to often. If you don't install MSDN Express on your hard drive, then Visual C++ will use the online version at msdn.microsoft.com. The installer will likely ask you to reboot your computer after it has finished downloading the components. When it does, your computer may appear to hang temporarily. Don't panic, it's just installing stuff. Once you're back into Windows, you may need to run the installer again. Choose the same options, and it will seem like it's going to download everything again, but it won't. It will install the program. Now, on Linux or Windows, if you're developing on Linux, or you're developing on Windows but want to write programs that you can easily port to Linux, I recommend code blocks. CodeBlocks is a free open-source cross-platform IDE that will run on both Linux and Windows. For Mac OS X, Mac users can use Xcode if it is available to you, or Eclipse. Eclipse is not set up to use C++ by default and will need to install the optional C++ components. Now, I immensely recommend using Xcode if you're developing on a Mac or have the choice between developing on a Mac or a PC. Okay, so moving on. Once your IDE is installed, which is one of the hardest things this tutorial will ask you to do, you are ready to write your first program. This is the end of lesson 5, and see you next time.